Hey guys, welcome back to round 3. We just saw Michael Chin take a mulligan, so we have Chase Nieman on your left versus Michael Chin on your right. I'm Kenny Wisdom, here with David Reichenberger as always.
Hello again.
And Chase is playing Darkrai, Yveltal, and Michael, as revealed by his mulligan, is playing Blastoise. Interestingly enough, Michael is playing Electrode as he wags his finger at the camera, which a lot of players have been declining to play Electrode as in favor of just more straight power and more tech. So what do you think of that?
I'm torn. There's a local player back home who does excellent with Electrode, and so I'm maybe biased in whatever answer I give. Because I would probably favor that power of the Electrode. But you cut so much to include it.
Yeah, you only have to cut 2 cards, but you know that 2 cards can be an extra supporter and a tool scrapper, or you know, the 2 cards is so much. That's why I think we've seen a lot of players like Oregon State champion Paul Johnston just go for straight up big, just straight. You know, lots of options. You know, lots of, whether it's max potion, whether it's tool scrapper. You know, no matter what it is, just always having more options and just relying on other consistency like Skyla and more draw supporters to really hammer that part home.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but N seems to see a lot less play now too.
N?
Yes.
N sees a lot of play still. Like, pretty much every deck plays N.
Well, of course, but in fewer counts.
Sometimes, yeah. Some decks are cutting to 2, or sorry, some decks are cutting to 3 now that we can. Now that we have Shauna. So you think you're saying that Electrode is worse with fewer ends because you don't get N down to 2 or 1 as much? That's fair. I think there's like a good number of ends still in the format, but that's definitely a consideration to make. It's interesting. We didn't. I thought we would see Blastoise players play Delphox just for the ability, but
really?
At the end of the day, I tested a little bit and it was just mostly not worth it. You know, you mostly did not have the you didn't have the ability to waste your candies on that, play a stage 1 line and draw, or say a stage 2 line, etc. And drawing 6 cards wasn't all that much better than 4 because, again, like you touched on, most of what we're seeing is it drawing you out of ends and bad hands. So if you get end to 1 and you get to draw extra cards, it's almost as good.
Yeah.
So Michael does get the turn 2 Blastoise and the turn 2 Black Ballista as well. So that's huge. That's exactly what he wants. And Chase is left with a field of only a single Sableye.
He probably did not want that to happen.
No.
Well, no. Probably. He definitely did not want that to happen.
That's basically worst case scenario. I think Chase was already working with a bad hand anyway, and because he had to shine it all away, and then he drew a Shauna and played no cards, or played 1 card, and he's already on the back foot. I think this Ultra Ball is going to search out a Trubbish if it isn't prized. Chase does only run 1 Trubbish as most of the, 1 Trubbish and 1 Garbodor, which we can see it's not prized in his hand, as most of these decks are now. What do you think of that? What do you think of the 1/1 Garbodor? Do you think it's enough to beat Blastoise, or?
I mean, assuming that nothing is prized, nothing pertinent is.
Right.
I think it could be, but with the catchers being used in Blastoise, then it doesn't seem like too much.
Yeah, it certainly makes it worse. But I think, how I feel about the matchup is
double poisoned.
How I feel about it's minutia. How I feel about the matchup is that in the past versus Garbodor, all Darkrai needed to do was get 1 turn of being able to use their abilities. So hit 1 Scrapper, load up a big Keldeo, and then go to town. But now the problem is that with Yveltal EX can handle a Keldeo. It can Evil Ball a Keldeo back, similar to how Mewtwo used to X-Ball it. So now you can stick to that plan, but it's not going to win you the game. You know,
No.
you can't just build up one big Keldeo because it's going to get knocked out eventually. You know, so you need more turns of tools to be able to get it here, and it's just I don't know.
They rely on catcher in this game.
Yeah. And I like the 1/1. I like the 1/1 Garbodor. I do, but I think that not having to play Floatstone, because most decks take out 4 cards for the Darkrai, or for the Garbodor to take out one. They put in 1 Tribush, 1 Garbodor, 2 Floatstones, and I think with those 4 slots, you can just fit so much more.
In a straight Darkrai Yveltal.
Yeah, you can those slots can go towards so much more aggression, like a second copy of Buffalant, or some kind of just something else to kind of get you there. And we will see that Michael will have another Black Ballista. I believe. I guess he particularly doesn't want one because he's looking on a Sableye right now, but we know I think he has a Professor Letter and another Water Energy in his hand, so he will get the Black Ballista if he wants it. Taking, yeah, that's what he's. Yeah, sorry, he's Professor Lettering now. Okay, and so yeah, and as I was saying, I just think that it provides you so much more aggression when you're not playing the Garbodors. But I have seen players who just get the Garbodor online, the Blastoise deck can't deal with it, and they just run over him, you know. But I'm not sure that's going to be the case here, especially as it looks like with double Professor Letter in hand. Michael can afford to build up 2 Black Curums. He can deluge the 3 Water Energy onto the active one, and then attach a water to the benched one. And he won't have Checkmate on board. He won't. We talk about how just putting Game on board where you have 2 Black Curums ready to attack, and he won't quite have that, but he will have.
It'll be close.
He'll be pretty close. He's only taking 1 prize with the Sableye here, unless he can get the Trubbish knockout. Okay, he does have the Keldeo. Sorry, I didn't think he had the Keldeo. I think he's even better positioned here. He can rush in, clear the damage, or clear the poison off, and knock out the Sableye without having to really put himself at risk.
You know, he's taken 2 prizes already. What do you think about leaving the Sableye there and just building up the Black Curums for a double EX knockout? Why bother take out the Sableye? Like, I realize it's a support Pokemon, and that's an excellent play to take it out, but he's in a position where he probably could have been more patient.
Yeah, I just think that you don't lose a lot while you're attacking a Keldeo with a Sableye. Or sorry, attacking a Sableye with a Keldeo. I think that Black Curuming there Black Blitzing there would have put him behind, or not behind, but would have hurt him more.
No, not to attack the Sableye, to leave the Sableye there.
Right, so what I'm saying is that I think that he's not losing a lot by attacking the Sableye with a Keldeo.
Okay.
Like, all you're doing is just putting up a Sableye, you know what I mean? I think if you're spending resources to do it, that's one thing, but I don't think you can,
I forgot about the Buffalant.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you can wait for the 2 Black Ballistas in general, because I think that gives Chase a lot of time, especially if he's playing more than 1 Garbodor. It gives him time to set up more than one, but also, or find extra tools, but also, usually in this matchup you want to attack with Buffalant, so that would also put a kink in that plan. So I think now, you just say, I'm attacking the Sableye, knock it out, I'm probably going to have to knock out Buffalant too, so that'll be my 2 non-EXs. That'll kind of even things out, even though that means you are knocking out 4 Pokemon. It's not the worst thing. You don't know, but you're probably gonna knock out 2 non-EXs. And Chase does 150 to the Keldeo EX.
We'll probably see a retreat here.
Yeah, it looks like the players are talking about something. Oh no, he's okay. He just decides to beach.
Oh wow. Now that Keldeo will go down.
No, because he has a beach now.
Oh, it'll go down going into Michael's turn.
Yeah, it like Chase now has the opportunity to just keep do whatever he wants. I think something he might want to do. I mean, if he can Sableye, he definitely wants to Sableye. I just think he only runs 1 copy. Most of the Darkrai lists right now are only running 1.
It looks like Garbodor is out.
Garbodor is active. So no delusion for Michael. And the other thing is that I think that I don't know what Michael's list is like, but I know that a lot of Blastoise players were considering just cutting beaches. Or sorry, not cutting beaches. Cutting Tool Scrapper completely, saying, hey, you know, if I play a Garbodor, I'll lose, but I don't think I'll play more than one. And I just want to I'll take the loss if I take it, but I'll have extra slots for more consistency. We see a Bouffalant. Oh, I'm not sure that I like this out of Chase. I don't really understand Chase's game plan here. I don't think that you want to let oh, okay, he's just gonna beach. I'm still not quite sure about this. I guess it's fine. I guess you don't want to lose a huge attacker that's already built up in Yveltal, and you just want to sacrifice the Bouffalant. But the scary thing here is that Bouffalant is a much easier target, especially with no Booffer ability, is a much easier target for another Keldeo. So Michael can drop a Keldeo, knock it out, and then Chase knocks the Keldeo. Who cares? Michael has a Black Ballista there.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a risky proposition by Chase. But
the issue is, in order to even bring out a Keldeo, Booffer would come back online via the Tool Scrapper.
That's true. I guess that's true. All of it works. I mean, I even think that even with Booffer, Keldeo is the preferable attacker versus the Bouffalant. But that's true. I guess Chase could just be saying, you know what, Michael, you need a lot. Like, you need to get Tool Scrapper, and then you need to have everything else. So, excuse me. So I guess if you have it, you have it, and we'll deal with that later. And Michael looking through his deck, getting a Black Kyurem. I think that wasn't off an Ultra Ball. I didn't see what was in the rest of his hand. I'm not sure what he's going for.
But he does have that Electrode.
Yeah, he has the Electrode, but he can't use his ability right now because of Garbodor. And I don't see a...
Oh, you're right. My mistake.
Yeah. I don't see... I can't use in Michael's hand. But it looks like he's just going to go ahead and Tropical Beach, maybe? Yep, no supporter. Or at least one he didn't want to play, and no Tool Scrapper. And Chase with a huge hand. Lots of options. And it looks like he's planning to get a knockout on the Black Kyurem, but I don't think there's a Dark in Chase's discard pile. Yeah, I think he's used all of them. I couldn't quite see this thumb through, but if he is able to... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, he's still a little bit away from being able to knock it out with an Evil Ball, but he could Y-Cyclone with Poison, and that would do the D. I think Chase attached that DCE a little too early. Oh, no, I guess that's incorrect, because that's the only way he can retreat is via paying, because Dark Cloak is not active. Have you had much experience with the Yveltal decks? Have you played one or played against one much?
I have, but primarily with Plasma. So it's a different situation. I can't speak as much on it.
That's fair, that's fair. I think I was having a talk with Josue Crims Rojano the other day, and he said he thinks him and a few other top players, friends of his, think Yveltal is the best attacker in the game right now, and I've got to agree.
It's the current Mewtwo.
Yeah, no, definitely. Black Ballista definitely can go over the top of anything, as can Rayquaza EX. But Yveltal EX is just so strong and can just defeat so many strategies, get so many free wins. Like, we actually haven't seen the deck perform as well as I would have thought going into States. I expected this deck, not with Garbodor, but just this deck to be the strongest deck. I expected it to be by far the best besides Blastoise, and we've seen that happen a little bit. We have seen Yveltal get some top.
Tool Scrapper.
So we got a Tool Scrapper. Alright. So Tool Scrapper gets the Muscle Band and on the Yveltal, and the Tool on the Garbodor as well. So this is going to be big. Unfortunately, Michael's bench is full now. He dropped that second Squirtle to fill his bench, so a Keldeo cannot come down. But I believe, does the Black Kyurem knock out? Does the Black Kyurem do 120? I think the big attack only is 100.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Black Kyurem... I'm not actually sure. I apologize for that.
It's either 90 or 100.
One, there's the catcher on the Garbodor, and this game has just swung right back into...
Wow.
right back into Michael's favor if he can get the knockout here, which I imagine that he can. And he has a Juniper in his hand, so I imagine that he's just going to Ultra Ball for whatever, maybe even fail to find. There's like one Keldeo left. I think he needs to keep that Keldeo in the deck. I don't think he wants to discard that.
Yeah, had he had anything else that he didn't want, like a Blastoise or a Squirtle in there, which I don't... Did you see any?
In his hand?
In the
deck?
In the deck.
I didn't see any, but I only got a cursory glance. I was mainly looking for... see, there's another Keldeo.
I'm just in awe of
and he just passed back, leaving the Garbodor stuck active.
Interesting.
And I mean... This is an interesting place to be for Michael, because if Chase gets a Darkrai, he can just retreat. Yeah, and there's the end of 3. Chase is letting himself to 4, but if he gets a Darkrai and a tool, he can retreat and activate Garbodor Toxin again, and it will be just back in the same position that Michael was last turn. Obviously, Michael didn't mean to do that. You know, he definitely would have taken the knockout on the go had he had it, but that's an unfortunate situation to be in.
Well, he had the Juniper. Why did he not use that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he had 2 catcher in hand and was more concerned about conserving those resources, rather. But yeah,
he's in a strong position. He probably could have afforded to lose those catcher.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a mistake by Michael, but. He also might have had other resources in his hand, but I agree. I think the main resource that you're worried about is the energy to knock out that Garbodor. But I don't think Chase has a Darkrai in his deck. I didn't see one. He's Professor's Lettering now. I see a Spiritomb, a Sock, and a Keldeo. And the Professor's Letter just fails both of his Darkrai.
That's too bad.
There might be one in his hand as well. But I don't think so. That's unfortunate. And yeah, nope, he doesn't have the Darkrai. He just ships the turn back. Prizing 2 of your Darkrai is quite unfortunate. So going back to the text that Chase was playing, what do you think of those? Chase is playing one Sableye, which I think is pretty standard. He's playing one Sock, which I think is pretty standard. Which is not pretty standard. What do you think of that?
Of the Sock?
Yeah.
Excellent in the Plasma matchup.
So you think it's worth the space?
Yes. I mean, adding Yveltal makes the deck a powerhouse, but it's still susceptible to Thundurus, which Sock counters.
Which Sock just completely negates. I really like Sock too. Clifton Go, as far as I know, took... Like our list, aka Clifton's list, the team's list, was the first one to run Sock at the Malaysian State Championship, and I think from there people have mostly liked it, but some of them have cut it. But I've been a fan of it the whole time. You know, Kick of Righteousness with a band and a laser knocks out a Thundurus, and it's just, I think it's a very strong card. What do you think of the Spiritomb?
I'm still torn. I mean, admittedly, only until recently did I think that it had to be active, much like the older Spiritomb.
Oh, the trainer lock Spiritomb?
Yeah, the Darkness Gray Spiritomb.
Okay. It had to be active to activate its ability?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't understand the nuances of the card just yet.
Right. I really like the Spiritomb personally. I think your deck has maybe not the Garbodor version, But in general, your deck has such a hard time versus Genesect if you don't run it. And so G Booster is that main thing that you want to counter. You don't want to get your things G boosted out. And there's a DCE off the top for Chase, and I just think it's so important. Alright, okay. Wow. Yeah, there's the knockout, and there's a superior for game. Michael Chin takes game 1 over Chase Nieman, and that game, to me, really just displayed the power of Blastoise. It got through the Garbodor lock. Even after it scrapped the Garbodor and then missed the knockout, it's still just, you know, knockout, knockout, knockout. And then even at the end, you know, Chase was 2 prizes down, had an Yveltal fully built up, and Michael just drops a superior energy retrieval, just showing how dominant that card is.
Well, he just got such a strong start, too.
Definitely. Turn 2 Blastoise, turn 2 Black Ballista. David Reckenberger, my good friend here, Mike Newman, Chase Nieman, who you see on screen, a couple of other OTB friends of mine, Fizzy, Stardust, Mike Davies, have been staying at my house for the past few weeks for their spring break, and Mike is playing Blastoise, and he's been on Blastoise this whole time. He really likes that deck, and when we were fiddling around with lists, he wouldn't even test. Like, he wasn't actually testing with anyone. He would just solitaire and play by himself and see how many times out of 10 or 20 he could get a Black Ballista on turn 2. And I think that's just very descriptive, not to take anything away from Blastoise, but I think that just shows you how strong the card is, and just saying, I don't need an actual opponent, I just want to sit here, I want a Goldfish, and if I get a turn 2 Black Ballista, it'll be enough for me. As a reminder, On the Bubble is brought to you by Top Cut Central. Please check out topcutcentral.com. Buy one of the lovely playmats that you see on our screen. Sell them some bulk. They have the best bulk rates in the industry. And so please check them out. Support us. Support the stream. We really appreciate everyone who watches. And also, this stream is brought to you, the state streams are brought to you by Pokevault.com, who are the best Japanese merchandise on the planet. So please go to Pokevault.com and type in the coupon code OTB Pokemon for 10% off your order. Have you ever been into Japanese merchandise at all, David? Sleeves or any of that?
Seldom, but I think they are wonderful to look at.
Yeah. Very pretty. I use a Japanese Cynthia deck box right now, and up until this season I use the Cynthia sleeves as well. But they're good sleeves. They're very good quality. It's just I just can't pass up a deal, and when I can get Infinite Ultra Pro sleeves for much cheaper, it's just too hard. Yeah, you can't play at this table. Sorry. Sorry, some little kids trying to get our autographs, but
this game is not for kids.
But yeah, it becomes costly to replace sleeves like that. But I think they're beautiful. You know, dice boxes. I still have a dice box from Japan, and all that merchandise is just beautiful.
That's one thing I do love about Pokemon is that you can customize how you play.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's so
large
expensive.
Sleeves, deck boxes, playmats, dice boxes. Yeah, I mean even coins like 2004 World Champion Sugiyoshi Yamato uses a $100 coin. Have you seen that guy?
No, I've not.
The Dojrio. It's like some kind of Japanese promo coin that I've literally only seen Yamato have that costs $100 on Pokevault.com.
I mean, even with the poison marker, we see a wooden poison marker on Michael's side of the field.
Yeah, that's Chase's. Me and him.
Oh, is it Chase?
Yeah, I mean it's Chase's thing. It's on Michael's side of the field. Me and him got those at Nationals. Those are beautiful. Yeah. You see a lot of us play with dice too. You know what I mean? Different kinds of dice, and it's just you
can really show your personality with Pokemon.
Definitely. So we see Chase opting to go first. Yveltal active, attaches a DCE and then Shauna's for 5. And drops a Sableye on the bench and just passes the turn back. Michael now is going to be able to rush in and prevent the inevitable prevent the knockout on that Squirtle. But it is turn 1, and this is one of the best and worst things about Blastoise. It's incredibly strong if you go first, and it loses a lot if you go second.
I hate to see a 50-50 matchup based on who's going first.
Definitely. And I think I don't think it's quite based on that, but I definitely think it's an advantage.
Oh yeah, I'm not speaking towards the matchup of these two decks, but
just in general.
In general, when your deck loses if it goes second.
Yeah, you definitely want to see. Fair matchups across the board and interesting matchups. Did you play back when you couldn't play trainers going first?
Yes.
How did you feel about that? Like, what do you feel about the first turn rules?
Currently, I think it's a step in the right direction. Because having no exceptions on the first turn just made first turn that much stronger.
Right.
I didn't like the black and white rules for that reason, but I do miss it being a little lopsided with Diamond and Pearl rules.
So you do miss not getting to play trainers on turn 1 and having going second be an advantage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think these rules are more intuitive, but I definitely think that 100% of decks or 99% of decks want to go first in this format, whereas in the Diamond and Pearl rules, you did usually want to go second, but there were definitely times where you wanted to go first.
Yeah, it depended on the deck.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting back then.
Oh, definitely. And Michael just slams a beach there, opting not to rush in to protect his Squirtle since he has 2 more on board. And Michael counting out his...
He's being a little silly.
Yeah, counting out his beach card just to make sure we know he's not drawing one too many. But that's actually an interesting play by Michael. He, excuse me, decides not to rush in with Keldeo, decides to leave the Squirtle active, and to say, you know, Chase, if you want this knockout, you're going to have to take 1 prize and play the 7 prize game. And additionally, my bench isn't going to be as full. You know, I think with 2 Squirtles, that's definitely the right play.
Yes.
And I think attaching to that Squirtle is a little bit of minutia too, because it allows him to promote the Squirtle next turn freely, knowing no matter what happens, I can leave the Squirtle here, and again, kind of do the same thing. I don't think he would leave it active. Next turn, I think he would probably retreat into the Keldeo, because you do want 2 Squirrels in case anything happens. Yes. But it does allow him to just kind of sit there and freely retreat. I think a worse player, a lesser player, might have attached to the Keldeo or the Black Kieran preparing for an attack, but I think that Michael is definitely playing it very safe there. And the beach gets bounced. Chase accidentally put the Verbank in his discard pile. A Dark Patch on the Sableye, and it looks like we might get a Junk Hunt this turn. There's a tool on the Trubbish with it. I actually don't like all that much. Do you like putting a tool on the Trubbish before you evolve the Garbodor?
No, it's a little bit premature.
Definitely. I think, especially when you're going to have 5 prizes left, Chase needs to take a prize. But especially when you're going to have... there he goes. Especially when you're going to have 5 prizes left, I think it's difficult to play the tool there. I think it's wrong to play the tool there because I think if you get end, you're probably drawing it anyways.
Was he playing it to draw more off the bicycle?
Maybe, yeah. I didn't count the cards in his hand, but that's definitely a consideration there. And it looks like Michael will get the Blastoise this turn. I see that he has an Ultra Ball in hand, and it looks like he's considering grabbing a Rare Candy with Skyla. Speaking of, as we talked about earlier, the full arts and such, what's your preferred Rare Candy art?
Oh, good question. Probably the Harkles Silver Unleashed art.
Okay.
I played with that art probably the longest. I think I still do whenever I use Rare Candy.
That's fair, that's fair. I'm a big fan of the one that Michael's playing, the Great Encounters version, the pink
also
background.
Pop 8.
Oh yeah, I think that's actually where I got my first ones, was Pop 8 packs at League.
It was so expensive back in the day.
Was it?
Yeah, for me anyway, I thought. Like $10 a candy.
Yeah, they're still pretty expensive, right? Or are they cheap now? Like, I imagine
I don't know.
Such a thing that...
They're so abundant.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, no, that's probably fair. Chase taking a look through Michael's discard pile. Chase He's actually top 16 to both states he's attended. He hasn't gotten much. There's not much talk about him because he hasn't been the top 8. But back-to-back top 16s is better than a lot of players do, and it's quite an accomplishment. Ooh, and he only has. Michael does not quite have the energy ready to Black Ballista, but I believe he has the retrieval in his hand. Oh yeah. I don't think that works. Yeah, that doesn't work how he wants it to. I don't think, because he can't get those energy back.
No, he can't.
So he may have just made a mistake. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, he just made a mistake. I think maybe I'm wrong. Sorry, we are wrong. Okay, he seemed very disappointed by that. He also just did he just put a Skyla back in his hand too? Okay, I'm gonna go tell a judge. Oh wait, what? Oh, okay, he discarded it. Okay, everything's alright. That was a little mistake there, and there's a Black Ballista for 200. And again, Michael is just consistently pumping out these Black Ballistas. I think he has the stuff needed in hand to do it next turn too, as long as his Black Hammer doesn't get knocked out. One of the big advantages of playing Black Kyurem that I actually didn't think about for a while is that thanks to Muscle Band, Bouffalants are often attacking for 140 and
180 HP.
Yeah, a Black Kyurem survives a Muscle Banded Gold Breaker with Laser Verbank in play, whereas a Rayquaza EX doesn't. Rayquaza EX only has 170, the most comparable card to Black Kyurem, and it's a little interesting piece of minutia there, but it does matter, you know. Living that extra turn, especially when you have Keldeo EX, to be able to rush in and turn off your poison is a very big game.
And actually, it's the minutia also associated with Yveltal's HP that makes it not as strong as Darkrai. Not as strong as it could be.
Because it only has 170?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen 170 has kind of been the magic number that most Pokemon are aiming to hit. But 180 has always been that kind of eluded. You can't really get there unless you're a Black Kyurem or a Rayquaza EX or a G Booster
or Trubbish.
or a Tool Drop Trubbish. That's correct. We do see a Junk Hunt here getting an Ultra Ball and a Bicycle. Looks like Chase considered taking the Dark Patch as well. And there's a Catcher. I think Catcher was a card drawn for Michael, which is going to...
Is that a Juniper in Michael's hand?
I'm not quite sure, but this Catcher is huge. That's a 6. Getting the Trubbish.
Is that a 6% HP?
You can see... I actually don't know. I don't remember. I think that's 70. I don't remember how much that one has, because that's the pound one. But either way...
See, once again, HP plays such a huge role.
Yeah, definitely. And there's the Black Ballista. Again, as we talked about earlier, and as what we talk about a lot more during this tournament, having the Black Ballista on non-EX Pokemon is never really where you want to be, but sometimes you just gotta do it. Our own Mike Nieman is now 2-1, having lost to Trevenant in the last round with his Blastoise deck. And with fully loaded Bouffon on Chase's side, looks like Chase is just resolving that Ultra Ball, but he's in a tough spot, especially if he keeps this Sableye active, because then, again, it allows Michael to go back down to 2 prizes and just need one more Black Ballista knockout to win this match 2-0. So it's gonna be a hard battle for Chase here. I think it's just so hard to say when you're behind against the Blastoise deck how you can win. I think step 1 is going to be to end Michael out of anything good. I think Michael needs to maybe do the same play that we saw Levi Canfield make during round 1, which was to attack with a Black Kyurem instead of a Keldeo to knock out something. and then have no energy on, or have no energy on board, and have to and just be end of 1 or end of 2 and just drawing nothing for a while. I think that's the first step.
Is that a Darkrai on the field?
It's a Darkrai.
Okay, good.
And it's a Gold Breaker for 120. And a Beach bounces the Verbank. Not a huge deal.
Chorus for 8.
And we take Chorus for 6, 7, 8. Chase has 2 cards in hand. Not quite sure there, but you can tell by Chase's body language he's not happy to be in this position. No. He's way behind here, and a Chorus for 8, only needing to get 4 water energies, so 1 superior energy retrieval, 2 Professor's Letter, an energy retrieval, and 2 waters, or any combination of that can lead to a knockout on the Buffalant with the Keldeo.
And there's a superior energy retrieval.
There's a superior and a water and an electric, so actually
Michael will be able to set up quite a bit.
Michael can put the electric on the Black Kyurem, put the water on the Black Kyurem, and then only need 2 more energies. Put all 4 of these that he's getting off of the superior right onto that Keldeo, which I'm hoping that's what he does. Michael, in my watching Michael play, he has been pretty willing to attack with Keldeo as often as possible. And he has another superior in hand, so actually he can set up game here. He can put the rest of the energy on Black Kyurem, which I think he should definitely do. And he's keeping a Juniper in hand even, so he has Chase in a checkmate position.
Just about.
Chase can, Chase also has the option of promoting that Sableye, but that doesn't really help things because Michael just knocks that out and then
takes the last 2 prizes.
Yeah, then takes the last 1 prize.
Well,
just can knock.
For a 7-prize game.
Right. Just has to knock out anything else, and he doesn't have to blow that Black Ballista. He can just attack it with the Keldeo, and I gotta say, I think Chase is pretty much out of this game.
It's rough to see.
Yeah, I mean, both games have just been kind of indicative of how I think Blastoise works and why I think Blastoise is the best deck ever since people have kind of gotten this list down. Ever since like Worlds this year and the beginning of this format, just like 4 superiors, 3 to 4 beaches, no fancy stuff. People. I remember in the early days of Blastoise, people were playing Super Scoop Up when that card was legal and a few other silly things, and it's just, I think now that people have this consistent Blastoise list, it's just so powerful.
Yeah. Decks are always really clunky when they come out.
Definitely.
I think the same can be said for the Fairy Trance deck.
Oh, definitely. I think almost every deck goes through an iteration of, oh man, like this is the version like everyone. That's what makes sense the most. Right? You play Scoop Ups, your Keldeo can't get knocked out, etc., etc. But then as thing goes on, and the better players get their hands on it, and more information leaks out, you kind of get this homogenized, correct list being played. And Chase knows he's in a bad spot. I do think you play the... Chase was considering not playing the laser, but I definitely think you play it every time. Even though he can just rush in and retreat.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason... He can rush in, double rush in. There's no reason...
Everybody's rushing.
Not to. Everybody is rushing in, David. But there's no reason not to. And now it looks like he's preparing for a junk hunt, but... Unless I'm missing something, I think Chase is just entirely out of this game, and it's quite unfortunate. There's a Tails, pretty irrelevant. 1 damage on the Keldeo. Maybe he'll forget to double rush in if he does that. It'll be quite the game. But nope, looks like he's just stacking his field even more, making sure there's nothing Chase can do. And there's another rush in. Might as well just switch the cards around a little bit, but that was the intention. 1 prize left. Black Ballista active. Chase needs... Ooh, I think the catcher was kind of his only out there. I think that he needed to catcher up the Black Kyurem and then hit DCE Poison would do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, DCE and a laser would have knocked it out and would have put him in a position. I think he's going to go for a catcher there again. And a miss and an N. So if Chase doesn't draw an N off of this, sorry, doesn't draw a catcher off of this N, it will be the game. You can see Chase pretty frustrated, throwing his deck down in frustration. Michael just tidying it up for him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the catcher. I believe Chase has missed 3 catcher flips so far. Here's the 4th one, but I don't think he hits it. But I don't think he has. I guess he has Ultra Ball. Sorry, I guess he has Bicycle. He can theoretically still do it. The last card in his hand is an Ultra Ball. Or sorry, the last card in his hand is a Bicycle.
What is that?
Spiritomb.
Oh, okay. He's just spinning his deck.
Yeah, why not? He's already played the his spec. Now a cut. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and that can't be it because he needs another energy. Wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
180.
Yeah, the Black Kyurem did have 4 energy on it. So wait, sorry, I miscounted there. So this actually is a game, and there's a Juniper from Michael off the end of 1.
Don't you hate it?
That's got to be unfortunate for Chase. And there's a Superior Energy Triple, and that's the game. Again, Michael just slams the Superior and says, I win. Michael Chin defeats Chase Nieman in round 3 of the Washington State Championship. I'm Kenny Wisdom with David Reichenberger. We'll be right back.